Have you ever wondered how it feels to have the deadliest disease in every era of humanity? Well, why don't we find out? You wake up to the buzzing of insects and the crackle of a boar. You're living in the Stone Age. Your bed is made of woven leaves. Your home is a cave and survival is your full-time job. You've hunted and been hunted. But the most dangerous killer, you never saw it coming. The mosquito. One bite and suddenly you have a fever that makes your skin burn. You shiver uncontrollably. You sweat buckets and your strength vanishes. What's happening inside you? A tiny parasite called Plasmodium has entered your bloodstream, hitching a ride from that mosquito bite. It travels to your liver, multiplies, then invades your red blood cells. As the cells burst, your body goes into shock. This is malaria, and it's not going away. Soon, others around you start showing symptoms. Your cousin, your friend who drank from the same swamp water. And this wasn't just your tribe's problem. Across early human settlements, from African wetlands to Asian valleys, entire clans vanished without battles or wounds. Scientists today have found Plasmodium DNA in ancient bones, even preserved inside Egyptian mummies. This ancient killer is so old it predates writing and probably mankind. You live around 3,000 years ago, in a world of rising empires and ancient gods, and you are a merchant. You travel, trade spices and silks, and return home. But this time, something follows you back home. It starts with a rash. Then the fever hits. You sweat through your linen robes. Your muscles ache. Your back bends in pain. And then the blisters come. This is smallpox. The worst part, you've already spread it. In a matter of days, your town becomes a tomb. Across the world, smallpox ravages civilizations. Egyptian mummies like Pharaoh Ramses V were buried with pox scars frozen in time. This plague killed an estimated 5 million people, including emperors. Even in death, it refused to die. It stayed in the skin, in cloth, in air. It survived centuries. It was a slow, disfiguring monster that marked its victims permanently, even if they lived. You recover, scarred, blinded in one eye, unrecognizable, but you live, and you become living proof of humanity's oldest arms race with sickness. Let's say you were alive in the year 1347, living in Europe as a peasant. You wake each morning to the church bells tolling, the scent of damp earth and ash in the air. One morning, a ship arrived at your town's shoreline, bringing with it rats and fleas, and immediately, things took a turn for the worse. At first, it's just a few cases, a fever, some chills, but then someone shows you their neck, a lump, swollen, black, pulsing, and another one under their armpit. It's called the bubonic plague. Believe it or not, but this disease arrived through the bite of infected flea, typically carried by rodents like rats. Within weeks, your village is emptying. You watch as carts roll through the streets, piled high with bodies. 1 in every 3 people around you dies. Maybe more. If you survive long enough, you'll watch entire families vanish. Priests refuse to bury the dead. Doctors flee. And still, no one knows what's causing it. When it's over, Europe has lost nearly half its population. Over 75 million dead, possibly even more. Okay, so actually, this era's deadliest disease is smallpox. But because we have talked about it before, we will move on to... If you were alive in the early modern era, huddled in a lice-infested military camp, then you didn't need a bullet to kill you. You just needed a bug, the body louse. And inside that tiny, scuttling monster lives one of history's most devastating bacterial assassins, Rickettsia prowazekii, the cause of epidemic typhus. It starts like any flu, headache, chills, high fever. But then comes the rash, spreading across your back and chest like red brush strokes. You feel like you're burning alive and freezing at the same time. Then the real horror begins. Hallucinations. You see faces that aren't there.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
You try to walk, but collapse. The infection hijacks your blood vessels, causing them to leak and clot and die. And by the time the lice jump to your next bunkmate, you're already dead. Epidemic typhus is sometimes called the camp fever or the war plague, and for good reason. It thrives in cramped, unsanitary conditions: prisons, refugee camps, besieged cities, and military barracks. In fact, throughout the 17th and 18th centuries, epidemic typhus killed more soldiers than combat itself. It's the early 1980s, and you're young, full of life, and living in a fast-changing world. Music is electric, cities are buzzing, and science is advancing faster than ever. You're part of a generation that believes anything is possible. But then, something starts happening. People around you, friends, neighbors, loved ones, begin getting sick. Not just cold and cough sick, mysteriously terminally sick. Healthy people suddenly wasting away, developing strange infections that doctors haven't seen in decades. One day, it's pneumonia. The next, Kaposi's sarcoma. Then it happens to you. You feel fine, but the virus is already inside you. A silent saboteur. HIV, the human immunodeficiency virus. You didn't get it from sneezes or handshakes. You probably got it through blood transfusion or a contaminated needle. And once it's inside you, it starts to kill you slowly. Your immune system becomes the target. HIV hijacks your CD4 cells and begins reproducing inside them, bursting them apart like microscopic suicide bombers. You feel nothing at first, maybe a mild flu. Then comes the day when your body can no longer fight back. That's when AIDS begins. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. A single cold could now be lethal. Your body becomes an open invitation to bacteria. Infections pile up. Your weight plummets. Your organs begin to fail. By the time the world realizes what's happening, millions are infected. From the late 1970s to today, HIV/AIDS has claimed over 40 million lives worldwide. Today, HIV is no longer a death sentence. With antiretroviral therapy, people living with HIV can live full lives, have families, and grow old. Prevention methods like PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis, and education campaigns have saved millions. Anyways, thanks for watching.